the hidden secret that transforms your garden path from boring to beautiful. You know that feeling when you walk down a bare garden path and something just feels empty, like the garden forgot to say hello? Well, I'm Sam from Seniors Gardening Advice, and today I'm going to show you the exact trick that changes everything. It's simple, it's brilliant, and honestly, most gardeners completely overlook it. The magic isn't in fancy decorations or expensive materials. It's in what you plant right along the edges of your walkway. The right border plants don't just fill space, they completely transform how your garden feels. They make visitors want to slow down. They make the space feel intentional and cared for. They make your path feel like it actually belongs to the garden, instead of just cutting through it like a scar. Before we dive into my favorite plants, if you love gardening tips like this, hit that subscribe button right now. We drop new videos every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. And if this video helps you create the pathway of your dreams, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our Seniors Gardening Advice community grow. Now, let's get started. Why path edges matter more than you think. Here's something I've learned from years of gardening. A pathway is a journey, not just a shortcut. The way it feels changes everything. When you plant soft, living borders instead of leaving hard edges, you're actually inviting people to walk more slowly. You're saying, stay a while, notice things, enjoy being here. The plants I'm about to share with you don't need constant fussing. They're not drama queens. They're reliable friends that stay neat, don't crowd your walkway, and add just enough personality to make your path feel calm and natural. They're the kind of plants that make you feel successful as a gardener, even if you've never grown anything before.
Plant number 1, Catmint, the romantic clouds. Let's start with one of my absolute favorites, Catmint. This plant is like the garden's way of saying, everything is going to be okay. It creates these soft, billowing mounds of silvery green leaves, topped with the gentlest lavender blue flowers you've ever seen. When catmint is growing along your walkway, the whole border takes on this relaxed, romantic feeling. It looks like the garden just naturally grew this way, like you didn't even have to plant it. That's the beauty of this plant. To grow catmint the right way, find a spot that gets plenty of sun. The soil doesn't need to be fancy. Catmint actually prefers simple, well-draining earth. Once it gets established, it becomes really drought-tolerant, which means less work for you. It looks especially stunning along gravel paths and stone walkways because it naturally spills over the edges a little bit. That's actually how you want it to look. Maintenance? Almost non-existent. Catmint rarely gets attacked by pests. You don't need to feed it all the time. Just give it a simple trim after the first big bloom of flowers, and it'll reward you with fresh blooms later in the season, keeping the border looking soft and alive for months straight. Here's a pro tip. Don't just plant one catmint here and another one way down the path. Plant them in small groups. Space them so they create a rhythm as your eye travels down the walkway. This repetition makes everything feel connected and purposeful. It's the difference between a decorated path and a designed path. If you've ever struggled with border plants, drop a comment below and let me know what happened. Our community loves sharing tips. Plant number 2, Creeping Thyme, the fragrant floor. Now, if catmint is the romantic one, creeping thyme is the practical friend who smells amazing. This is a low-growing plant that hugs the ground and naturally softens all those hard edges around your pathway. The leaves are tiny and delicate, staying attractive all season long. Here's something special, though. When you brush against it or walk near it, it releases this fresh herbal fragrance. Suddenly, your path doesn't just look beautiful, it smells beautiful too. That's an experience, not just a walkway. Plant creeping thyme by tucking small sections along the path edge, spacing them just a few inches apart. Give it a sunny spot with soil that drains well. This plant likes conditions on the drier side. Too much water and it gets unhappy. Once it's settled in, it spreads slowly and fills the gaps between stones and pavers without taking over. You'll love how little attention this plant needs. No fertilizer required, only water in really dry stretches. It doesn't attract deer or pests, which makes it one of the lowest maintenance choices you can make. The foliage stays neat, it never turns messy or floppy, it just stays quietly perfect. For the best look, let creeping thyme spill just slightly onto your actual pathway, or tuck it between stepping stones. This creates a natural conversation between the hard surface and the soft garden. The result feels lived in, gentle, and inviting. It's like your pathway is saying, "Come stroll, don't rush." Plant number 3, Geranium roseanne. And if you want flowers that actually last for months, this is your plant. It has this naturally loose, slightly cascading shape that somehow looks effortless without being messy. The violet-blue flowers just keep coming, month after month. And they have this gentle quality. They're not demanding attention, they're just quietly beautiful. Along a pathway, this creates color that feels natural rather than showy. Geranium roseanne isn't picky. Full sun to light shade works fine. Well-draining soil is important, but beyond that, it adapts to most gardens. Plant it where it has a little room to spread, not jammed tight against the path edge, but close enough that it creates that soft, intentional overlap. Care is straightforward. You rarely need to feed it. Sometimes in midsummer it gets a little loose, so a gentle trim helps. Otherwise, just water during dry stretches and let it do its thing. It resists pests really well, which keeps your work minimal. Here's how to use Geranium roseanne like a pro. Think of it as a connector plant. It weaves between catmint, other plantings, and grasses. It ties the whole border together into one flowing design. When you place it along your walkway, it creates this sense of movement, like the garden is slowly growing around the path naturally. This is exactly the kind of gardening secret that would help your friends. If you know someone who wants a beautiful path, share this video with them. They'll thank you.
Plant number 4, Dianthus, delicate and charming. Dianthus forms these neat, compact little clumps that sit right along the pathway edge without overwhelming anything. The flowers have this soft, ruffled appearance. Depending on the type you choose, you get gentle shades of blush, white, rose, or cool berry tones. Many varieties have a light, sweet fragrance, nothing overpowering, but just enough that you notice it as you walk past. It's subtle and nostalgic all at once. Dianthus needs a sunny spot with soil that drains well. It actually prefers soil that isn't super rich. This makes it perfect for gravel areas, raised borders, and garden paths. Plant them close enough together to create that repeating rhythm I keep mentioning. Space each clump evenly for a tidy, intentional appearance. Caring for Dianthus is easy. Water regularly while it's getting settled. Once it's established, reduce the watering. Trimming off dead flowers encourages fresh blooms and keeps the plant looking neat. Because Dianthus naturally stays compact, you rarely need to prune or reshape it. Along a pathway, Dianthus adds these small touches of color that feel charming instead of bold. The delicate flowers are like the garden greeting you as you walk by. It gives the path a quiet warmth. It brings details and delicacy, the kind of gentle softness that improves a walkway without demanding attention. Plant number 5, Heuchera, the color anchor. Heuchera is interesting because you're not just growing it for flowers. The real star is the foliage color, which brings depth and contrast to your entire border design. The leaves come in shades like deep burgundy, caramel, peach, lime green, and softer colors that stay throughout the growing season. Along a pathway, Heuchera acts like a visual anchor. It adds richness and stability among the softer, airier plants around it. Heuchera wants partial shade to light sun depending on where you live. In cooler regions, it handles more direct sun. In warm areas, it appreciates relief from the afternoon heat. Give it soil that drains well. Avoid heavy, soggy earth where the roots get frustrated. Heuchera is generally low maintenance. Water regularly while it's getting established. After that, reduce to occasional watering. You don't need fertilizer beyond a light layer of compost once or twice yearly. In early spring, trim away the older leaves to let the fresh foliage shine. When you use Heuchera along a walkway, it provides structure and calm. It's the steady note that balances lighter textures like catmint and Geranium roseanne. When you repeat Heuchera in small groupings, it creates rhythm and continuity. Your border gets a thoughtful, finished feel without ever looking forced or over-designed.
Plant number 6, lavender, the timeless choice. Lavender is classic for a reason. It frames an edge with structure while still feeling soft and inviting. The gray-green foliage and violet blooms create a gentle contrast that looks timeless. And that light fragrance, it rises as you walk past and creates this calm, inviting atmosphere. You know immediately that this path belongs to someone who cares. To grow lavender well, give it full sun. It needs soil that drains easily. Lavender actually prefers soil that isn't super rich. This makes it perfect for gravel areas, raised borders, and garden paths. Plant them close enough together to create that repeating rhythm I keep mentioning. Space each clump evenly for a tidy, intentional appearance. Caring for lavender is easy once established. Water sparingly, especially in areas that get regular rainfall. It doesn't need fertilizer. Too much feeding actually weakens its shape. A light shaping trim after blooming keeps the mounds neat and encourages fresh, compact growth. Placed along a pathway, lavender guides movement. It creates a visual line that draws the eye forward. It pairs beautifully with relaxed plants like catmint, geranium roseanne, or ornamental grasses because it brings gentle structure to balance their softness. The overall effect is warm, calm, and subtly elegant. If you want more videos about classic plants that work every single time, subscribe to Seniors Gardening Advice. We're here to make gardening easier, not harder.
Plant number 7, Hakonechloa, the flowing elegance. Hakonechloa, also called Japanese forest grass, is all about movement and grace. Its arching ribbon-like leaves drape gently over the pathway border edge, creating this soft, flowing effect that feels calm and natural. When a breeze passes through, the whole plant shifts slightly, almost like fabric. It adds this subtle sense of life without demanding attention. Hakonechloa grows best in partial shade to light shade, which makes it especially useful for pathways along the side of a house, under shrubs, or areas where sunlight changes throughout the day. It wants soil that's rich in organic matter and holds moisture without staying waterlogged. Once established, it forms graceful mounded clumps that get fuller each year. Maintenance is simple and minimal. Keep the soil lightly moist during dry seasons. Trim the plant back in late winter or very early spring to allow fresh foliage to emerge cleanly. Beyond that, you don't need fertilizer, just occasional compost. It rarely has pest issues. Hakonechloa brings softness and elegance. It creates that gentle transition between the solid line of the path and the rest of your garden. When combined with mounded plants like Heuchera or the airy texture of catmint, it adds visual rhythm. The border feels like it's flowing naturally, not just placed there. Plant number 9, Lady's Mantle, the cottage garden friend. Lady's Mantle has these soft, scalloped leaves that naturally catch and hold morning dew. It gives the plant this gentle, fresh garden look that feels romantic and relaxed. When it blooms, it produces airy clouds of tiny chartreuse flowers that settle into the border like a soft mist. Along a pathway, Lady's Mantle creates a welcoming cottage-style edge that feels warm and approachable. People naturally want to get closer to it. Lady's Mantle grows well in full sun to partial shade, depending on your climate. In cooler regions, it handles more sun. In warmer climates, it appreciates light shade during the hottest part of the day. Planted in soil that drains well, giving it a bit of room to spread and form those loose draping mounds it's known for. Maintenance is minimal. Water regularly during establishment, then water only as needed once it's rooted deeply. After flowering, a light trim refreshes the foliage and encourages a neater shape. It doesn't require heavy feeding and is generally resistant to pests. When planted along a walkway, Lady's Mantle works as a transition plant. It softens edges, it bridges gaps, it blends neighboring plants together. Its color and texture are subtle enough to complement catmint, geranium roseanne, lavender, and heuchera without overpowering them. The result is a border that feels cohesive, soft, and kind to your eyes. Plant number 9, Lamb's Ear, the soft touch.
Lamb's ear is loved for its soft, velvety, silver-toned leaves that instantly soften the edge of a pathway. The texture is gentle and calm, creating a soothing contrast to brighter greens or floral borders. When used along walkways, it offers a sense of invitation. It's almost like the garden is cushioning the space, making it feel warm and approachable. To grow lamb's ear, choose a location with full sun to light shade and soil that drains well. This plant prefers conditions on the drier side. Too much moisture makes the foliage turn mushy. It thrives in poor to average soil and doesn't require fertilizers. It's a low-effort choice with consistently beautiful results. Maintenance is very minimal. Water sparingly once established, remove old or tired leaves to keep the clumps looking fresh. Depending on the variety, lamb's ear may send up tall flower stalks in summer. Some gardeners trim them off to maintain a clean, low look. Others let them bloom for pollinators. Both choices are perfectly fine. Along a walkway, lamb's ear creates a soft visual boundary that's gentle rather than rigid. The silver color pairs beautifully with catmint, lavender, and geranium roselle, helping the border feel cohesive while still having depth and variation. The tactile quality gives the garden a comforting human touch, a quiet softness that's easy to love. Plant number 10, Creeping Jenny, the Golden Glow. Creeping Jenny brings a bright golden-green glow to the pathway edge. It grows low and spreads gently, forming soft, trailing lines that follow the curves of a border. The color is cheerful without being loud. It adds light to shaded or neutral areas and helps the pathway feel alive and thoughtfully finished. To grow Creeping Jenny well, choose partial shade to light shade, especially in warmer climates. In cooler regions, it can handle more sun where the golden tones become more pronounced. Plant it at the very edge of the border, where it has space to trail slightly over stones or soften the boundary between path and planted area. Care is simple. The plant prefers moist soil, but once established, it handles short dry spells. Trim occasionally if it begins to wander farther than you'd like. Shape it so it creates soft, controlled drifts instead of patchy spreads. No fertilizer is required. Too much and it grows faster than needed. Along a walkway, Creeping Jenny provides a visual highlight, a gentle ribbon of color that guides the eye forward. It pairs beautifully with lamb's ear, Heuchera, and Hakonechloa, balancing silver tones, deep colors, and flowing grasses. When repeated in small patches along the path, it creates continuity and warmth. The border feels natural, welcoming, and softly romantic. The big picture, creating your garden sanctuary. Border perennials don't just decorate a pathway, they fundamentally shape the atmosphere around it. By repeating just a few plants along the edge, your garden begins to feel calm, connected, and intentional. The space transforms from just being functional into genuinely special. Let these plants take their time to fill in. Don't rush it. The pathway will slowly become one of the most inviting parts of your entire garden. Visitors will naturally slow down. They'll comment on how beautiful it is. They'll ask you for advice. And you'll know it's because you understood this one simple principle. What you plant along the edges matters more than anything else. Before you go, I want to remind you, if this video inspired you, please hit that subscribe button for more gardening wisdom every week. Leave a like to help others find this video, and most importantly, share this with someone in your life who loves gardening. Let's build the Seniors Gardening Advice community together and help more people create the beautiful gardens they deserve. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy gardening, friends!